We start the day's other headlines with a temporary truce between Pakistan and Afghanistan. The neighboring nations have agreed to a 48-hour ceasefire following days of deadly clashes. Tensions flared last week after an airstrike in Kabul, which the Taliban blamed on Pakistan. Ground fighting has since been reported at several military posts along both sides of the long-contested border. Pakistan has accused Afghanistan of harboring armed groups in the region, which the Taliban-led government denies. Dozens have been killed, key border crossings remain closed, and civilians say the violence is taking its toll.
Firing started from both sides. In our village, shells and bullets started hitting people's houses. Our request is for both our government of Pakistan and the Taliban fighters to immediately stop this war.
Pakistani officials said today that Afghanistan had requested the temporary truce. Taliban officials said the opposite, that the ceasefire was at the, quote, insistence of the Pakistani side. Kenya has declared a week of national mourning to mark the passing of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
In his passing, we have lost a patriot of uncommon courage, a Pan-Africanist, a unifier who sought peace and unity above power and self-gain.
President William Ruto says flags will fly at half-mast and Odinga will receive a state funeral. Today, Kenyans publicly mourned the man they called Baba, or Father. Odinga started as an activist in the 1980s and was frequently detained by the authorities. He later ran for president 5 times, and even though he never won, his populist campaigns and pro-democracy efforts gave him an outsized influence within Kenya and beyond. Raila Odinga was 80 years old. Back here in the U.S., the city of Los Angeles is under a state of emergency tonight in response to President Trump's immigration crackdown. The measure passed last night, and it gives the L.A. County Board of Supervisors more power to assist residents impacted by ICE raids in recent months. That includes providing rent relief to tenants and funneling state money for legal aid. Separately, in Chicago, an order from a county judge took effect today, barring ICE from arresting people at court. It's become a common tactic for federal agents who've been stationed outside courthouses for weeks. A federal judge in Montana dismissed a lawsuit today brought by young climate activists who tried to stop President Trump's executive orders on fossil fuels. Their lawsuit argued that actions to boost drilling and mining and discourage renewable energy will endanger the planet for future generations and violate their constitutional rights. The judge today agreed that the plaintiffs have shown, quote, overwhelming evidence that climate change will get worse under Trump's orders. But he said blocking them was a, quote, unworkable request that was not for the courts to decide. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is pushing back on President Trump's threat to move World Cup matches out of the city next year. Trump made the claim while meeting with Argentina's president yesterday, saying the city had been, quote, taken over, though he offered no evidence of that. World Cup sites are worked out with FIFA, the world soccer governing body, and not under the president's control. It's a point that Mayor Wu made to a radio program this morning.
All of that is in conversation and in many, many, many months of planning now. Much of it is locked down by contract so that no single person, even if they live in the White House currently, can undo it. In this case, it's a little bit of a, there's no ability to take away the World Cup games. There's no real threat when it comes to saying cities are so unsafe that they can't host the games.
Boston is one of 11 U.S. cities set to host World Cup matches next year. In Oklahoma, the state's new public school superintendent says he's rescinding an order from his predecessor that required Bibles and Bible instruction in classrooms. The directive from former Superintendent Ryan Walters had drawn criticism from civil rights groups and prompted a lawsuit. He resigned from his post last month. Today, attorneys for the plaintiffs in the case applauded the decision, writing that, quote, the attempts to promote religion in the classroom and the abuses of power should never happen in Oklahoma or anywhere in the United States again. Stocks ended mixed on Wall Street today after a choppy session of trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped just 17 points, so almost flat. The Nasdaq rose nearly 150 points. The S&P 500 also ended in positive territory. Still to come, on the News Hour, we hear from federal workers furloughed during the government shutdown. And an Australian mining executive becomes an advocate for reducing industry's carbon footprint.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.